Well, my name is Chris Mason, and I'm the Director of Linux Kernel Engineering at Oracle. Well, I'm actually here for two different conferences. Before the Collaboration Summit, we had a file system and storage workshop. There were a number of attendees, I think it was around 30 or 40 people, and we covered a whole range of topics on file systems and storage and the projects we're going to be working on in the future. Very much feedback from the users. I'm working on a new file system right now, and I'm trying to work on storage futures, trying to figure out exactly how Linux is going to serve storage for the next 10 to 20 years. So it really helps to have a good, strong idea of what is lacking in our solutions today and how people plan on ramping up their storage needs in the future. Well, the great thing about the role of the Linux Foundation in the community is that we're able to talk with a broad range of customers who we wouldn't really have access to, maybe not just as Oracle. Sure, Oracle has a great customer base, but the Linux Foundation gets a different base of community people. And so it lets us really talk to the full gamut of people who are using Linux. And just as a kernel developer, it's very hard for me to go find those people myself, so it's wonderful to have the help the Linux Foundation provides. Well, my first primary contribution to Linux was working on journaling on the RiserFS file system. And the main motivation for that was, as an administrator, I wanted to be able to get Linux into my data center. And so I added the features that I thought Linux was missing at the time for us to really be able to use it in production. And that quickly led to something of a career change, so I ended up a kernel developer instead of an administrator. But that's been my focus all along, is trying to solve the problems for the data center people who are trying to deploy Linux or administer it now that they have it deployed. Well, it's definitely much easier to look at commodity hardware and Intel platforms, and Linux supports a whole range of things, but it's a lot easier to get Linux into the data center now. No one really questions why you're trying to do it anymore. And the broad base of users makes it a lot more fun to do projects because we have a lot of people interested in what we're making. Well, Oracle has been using Linux for a very long time, and we've, it's the basis of all of our R&D. We develop on Linux. We use it for all of our internal operations, so our data centers are all Linux. We use it for our on-demand hosting and things like that. So everything that we do internally, we do with Linux, and we're a huge customer of our own products there. And so we're able to save huge amounts of money with Linux, and we're able to really scale up our operations with it. So first off, we have a great story that we can tell to customers when they come to us asking how they can do what we're doing. And then we also have a great insight onto what we need to improve and what's working very well. Well, our biggest problem in file systems today is just the size of storage that's out there right now. You can go to Best Buy and buy a terabyte drive or a 1.5 terabyte drive, and that's just more storage than most of our file systems can handle right now. And so we're trying to look at being able to scale our storage up to the levels that people are going to be able to buy 10 years from now, because it takes a while to get new file systems into production. So we're not looking just at performance, because our file systems tend to perform pretty well, but also at how well we can administer all of that data and how we can limit the downtime or back it up more effectively, or the whole administrator challenges that people face today we're trying to solve. I think the big thing is that a lot of people don't realize how heavily invested Oracle is personally into making Linux work, and that we really value the community and what the community has done for Linux. And so we're trying to give back, and we're also trying to use the products and contribute feedback and things like that, in addition to developing new software on it. So it's a key technology for us. For fun, Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of fun development time outside of my main project, which, I started it because it was something that I cared deeply about. And, even back to my first Linux contributions, it were things that I did as a hobby first. So unfortunately, it is what I do for fun. It sounds kind of silly, but I enjoy it. So Linux as a whole, I think, has come much farther than I ever thought it would have. When I started 10 years ago, I never imagined we'd be where we are now. And a number of the sessions yesterday talked about Linux as the default answer in the data center. And I think we're pretty close to that. We still have a huge amount of competition from Microsoft and Unix, but I think we're on the right path to being the default answer in the data center. So that's great. And then you hear all the stories about all the places that use Linux that you don't notice it. And I really enjoy seeing that happen. You're on an airplane and you see the Linux screens flash by on the televisions, things like that. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing all the places that Linux is silently creeping in. Well, a lot of people talk about the year of the Linux desktop, and I think I mostly agree that we're already there. But usability in the Linux desktop is definitely improving, and it's much easier now to use it than it ever has been. So I enjoy, because I use it all the time myself, I really enjoy just being able to use it as my primary system without frustration. The major things that have made it usable, it's not really a single revolutionary change. It's little things like being able to suspend and resume that people take for granted now that didn't used to work. It's the normal word processing and presentation utilities that we're starting to take for granted. Is just, they have their warts, but they work most of the time, and they get the job done. So I think it's more, the years of work that people have put into making it usable. The major thing we hope to accomplish from the sessions is really the input from the users. It's the chance to tell them what we're working on and what we think is going to be the most important aspects of the projects. But often they come up with ideas that we didn't realize were important. And so it can really help us change our development directions, add in new features, and also, very importantly, find beta testers who are really interested in shaking things out for us.